We're looking pretty decent here. Nobody's head's cut off.
Wow, no.
If you sit back and sit up a little bit more, you'll probably be better. Don't be slumping down. He almost fell asleep during the
last one. Because just him and Brody were talking.
Well, I thought you were enjoying yourself, but you can tell he was you guys ready?
We're going to do the cutting floor edition. So.
This is the director's cut. This
the
will be the director's cut. Come on in. We
Cool.
just slide right on in here. Keep walking and walk.
Man.
Ooh, I'm going to walk right off the screen.
I know.
That's a little far.
I know.
Are we ready? Are we ready?
All right.
All right. Hey, suck it in, guys. All right, we're ready?
And down. Hi. Look at that.
That is a nice looking t-shirt. I
Yeah.
like that one.
That is an awesome looking t-shirt.
Do you like this one?
This one's okay.
Well, on that note,
someone didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
howdy y'all. I'm Mr. Holga.
And I'm Todd Puckett.
And I'm Zane Pollard.
And this is Don's Used Photo Equipment.
Yes, not only Don's used photo equipment, it is also the International Intergalactic World Headquarters for Holga.
For Holga Week. You're right, because if you'll notice that both Todd and I are wearing the brand new, fresh off the presses. Matter of fact, we are the first two people
to wear them.
to wear the 2021 Holga Week t-shirts.
Yeah, I thought we just both shopped at the same place and bought the same thing. And it's like,
yeah.
Shut up.
I shop at Forever 21. Where do you shop?
Yo, Fogey's home.
And amazing, they both had Holga Week shirts.
It is.
How is that possible?
Kurt, you're too. It is. I love it.
That's how it happens. Anyways, just in case I don't mention it, the t-shirts are here at Don's right now for you to buy in person, right? And the going price is $18, unless, of course, you complain that it's $18 and we charge you $20. That's the Kardashian discount, right?
It is.
That's how it goes.
The $2 complaint.
But we're not here to talk about Holgas. As much as we love Holgas.
We did it last week.
We did that.
We did that.
And please go watch the last video and you'll see all about it.
Yeah.
Actually, we're here to talk to Zane.
We're
here to talk about Zane.
Somebody
to talk to Zane.
Followed me in again.
I know. We're not alone. This is getting to become a thing where we have more than just two of us talking.
Yeah, people out there going, whew, thank you. Break up that boredom.
I was just getting so tired of the jokes.
Yeah, that's why I came up.
That's it.
Well, Zane is here because in a few weeks, in a few short weeks, as a matter of fact, this month, Polacon. Polacon 6, 5, what number are we at?
7.
You've lost count. It's so many
If it's
Polacons.
higher than 3, I can't count. So.
It's more than one hand for me, then I am lost.
Yeah, I can't do it.
As everybody knows, Polacon is an annual event that starts on the same weekend as the State Fair of Texas.
Opening day at State Fair of Texas.
Opening day at the State Fair of Texas. There's usually a Polacon walk at the State Fair. Fantastic thing if you guys have ever been to one. Instant film, all sorts of instant photography. Not just instant film, instant photography.
Yes, instant photography.
It's just if you can make it instant, that's what it's going to happen.
That's what it's about, yeah. So Polaroids, Instax, cyanotypes. Although it's not going to be doing cyanotypes at the State Fair. That we know.
No, they won't do those. But they had a demo there. So, so Zane, why don't you tell us first a little bit about your photography and what you do?
Who you are, what your sign.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Taurus.
All right.
All right.
The car?
The car.
So, yeah, the Ford Taurus.
Really?
Yeah.
I tried to be a Mustang or something, not a Taurus.
Go Mustangs.
So I am Zane, obviously. At this point, you've heard my name like 3 times. I do Polaroid SX-70 repairs as kind of like a hobby.
Yes.
And I also work on a project called the Open SX-70 project. So it's a PCB replacement for SX-70 cameras. It gives manual control and stuff like that. So I am a big fan of the SX-70.
Yep.
Which leads me to my first question. Because in case you all haven't noticed, he's just a kid. How does a person like you get interested in repairing cameras that are clearly older than you are?
Oh, yeah.
In fact, they stopped making them?
They stopped making them probably before you were born.
Oh, yeah. Well, a little bit before. The SLR 690, which is like it's not, in my opinion, not really like a true SX-70, but it's close enough, came out in like 91, I think.
So XX, if you could grab one.
Oh, yeah.
So
this is an SX-70
in case you don't know,
Alpha.
it's the really big cigarette camera, as I always call it.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead. When were these things first when did they first hit the scene?
They first hit the scene in the 70s. So these were actually the first integral film cameras, because before then, it was all of the sadly dearly departed peel apart films and roll films.
Sadly, he's got a point there, guys. It's very sad that he lost those beautiful films.
I love those films.
They're
I have one pack of FP100C that I've been like saving
for that special occasion.
Well, I don't. Yeah, basically. But yeah, so they were released in the 70s, and these are honestly like an engineering feat. Like the fact that these were made is kind of insane.
They're amazing.
They're ridiculous. It's a full SLR that folds and shoots integral Polaroid film.
Fits in a vest pocket.
Yeah.
Too.
As Edwin Land said, like he wanted a camera that fits in his suit jacket pocket, and this is literally.
Well, he must have had some big pockets.
Well, those old vest ones did.
They were actually like part of it was modeled for his suit jacket pockets. Weirdly enough, like
well, when your last name is Land, I guess you can get away with that.
Yep.
Yeah, but the entire mechanism of these cameras is like absolutely like super cool, and they also were some pretty early cameras using electronics. Well, I mean, earlier cameras did too, but like the way that these were done,
it's far more integral.
Far more integral, yes, because so there was like several different early models. So this is the Alpha. So these were released in like 74 or 5, I think. And then this is the Model 1, which was one of the first models released. And there's a ton of different revisions of these because these cameras actually came out half baked.
It was the 70s,
They stuck to the pan a little
so
bit.
like, well, the investors on the Polaroid investors were like, okay, you guys need to stop spending like what it would be today, like $1 billion designing this camera. You need to release it. So there was earlier versions of these like that I've run across, and they were kind of rare to run across because they were so unreliable that Polaroid would actually like be like, hey, send it back in, and they would get like a newer Texas Instruments board. So there were early Texas, there were early Texas Instrument boards that were actually ceramic, and I've run into those before. And those are actually hot garbage, because you can't take them out if you put an iron to them, they just crack. Mm-hmm. But then there was also the Fairchild Semiconductors boards, that are kind of unreliable as well. So a lot of the times, whenever you get a Model 1 and it doesn't work, it could be that the ECM just failed.
Well, I mean, the design of the cameras is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's one of those cameras that comes along. It's like just once you see one of these cameras in person, you're like, oh my gosh, you want to shoot with it, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And then as a photographer, I love these kind of cameras because of the fact that you can focus them. You can have the short distancing focus and things like that.
Yeah, no, it's...
Now, one thing, though, I want to tell you, when you pick these things up and you look at it, you know immediately the difference. But to the layperson, they're going to sit there and look at it and go, what's the difference? First one is a plain flat bottom.
And this one has a tripod socket and also strap lugs built in.
And no strap lugs, no screw at the bottom.
Just little details.
Well, yeah, but that makes this the Model 1, and that's the...
And this is an Alpha. So the Model 1 also, there's actually quite a number of differences between these. Some mechanical that nobody really needs to know about because the only people who care about that are weirdos like me.
People who really get into it.
But for actual electronics like these, the Alphas are capable of like fill flash and stuff like that. The Model 1s and 2s, I could get into the weeds all day. There's like some minor differences that nobody will ever notice.
Well, the thing is, as they're making them, they're just kind of making changes as they go along.
Whenever the Alpha came out is whenever the camera really became like in its own. So, and then there's the sonars, which are basically just the Alpha entirely, exact same feature set except for sonar autofocus. Does this one have a battery in it? No. Kind of hard to show off the autofocus without a battery, so we'll just
there's no battery. Bear with us, guys. Bear with us.
Oh, it's okay. This
hot
not
swap
taking
in
a
the battery.
This is not taking a whole lot of time. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, also the sounds of these cameras are just...
That is infamous.
That's the classic sound.
You hear that and you know exactly what it is.
Yeah, and also the best part is that the sonar autofocus is like it's so snappy. Like it's like near instant.
I mean, you hear that? Yeah, anybody our age, you hear that sound, we know somebody's just taking a picture.
Oh yeah,
it's just that's all it was when we were growing up.
SX-70 Polaroid picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, these.
No other camera makes that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful design, and so you get into fixing them. But what's the part about you fixing them that's really fascinating?
Oh, that was the original question. I could I just talked
about into fixing.
So it was kind of it was a bad reason to get into.
We'll get it out of him, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
We have ways of making him talk. We
Give him talk.
So I had an SLR 680 that didn't work, and I've done like a lot of electronics work beforehand, and repairing things. Yeah, right. I'm a tinkerer. So I had a 680. So one of the common problems on like the sonar models, which is kind of why they're cheaper usually, like on the used market if they're unrefurbished. There's a part in here that I actually recreated called the pick off or opto sensor. And it's basically it's what lets the autofocus run. So mine wasn't working on my 680.
I'm sorry, the pig off or
pick off.
Oh, pick
off.
Yeah,
pick off.
I just want to clarify.
It's like a basketball move.
I didn't know if this is farm equipment or what was going on here.
So it didn't work on my 680. So I decided, I was like, okay, well, I'll just buy like another camera online, like a broken sonar, and then repair my 680. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I really like how these cameras work, and so I just started getting more and more into it.
Off into the deep weeds.
Yeah. And I started. I have probably there are like a lot of them are junk bodies that I pull parts out of, but I
start somewhere.
Yeah, I have about if I had to make a guess, I have about 60 bodies, which
in
sounds
various
bad.
Stages
yeah,
of
60 bodies. Yeah, in a box somewhere.
They're buried everywhere.
Yeah.
Don't be alarmed.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was first because I didn't want to spend money on like paying somebody else to do it. I was like, I could probably do it myself. And then it turned into me repairing a bunch of other people's cameras.
But now there's a community of people out there that are repairing these, right?
Yeah, there's a small community. There's some people that I've actually helped out doing that a lot. So like online, I actually get message on Instagram a lot of people being like, hey, is this something that I could do myself? And I'm like, oh yeah, here's how you would do it. Because one of the problems that comes with a lot of repair communities, and specifically like in camera repair communities, is even though there's not really a big market for repairing analog cameras, it's becoming bigger, but all the old heads, even though they're like retiring and things like that, still have like the mindset of not wanting to share like how to do anything.
They don't share anything. That's true.
I mean, I've always, because anytime I get an old camera, let's say it's $150.
Yeah.
And it needs a repair. Well, the repair is normally $150.
Yeah.
And it's like, no one wants to double the cost of their camera to get it repaired. And I'm assuming these are pretty much the same way.
Yeah. So they're really well built cameras. They do need to be serviced just because.
Well, they get old.
Well, yeah, they get old. So
the parts in it are what fall apart.
Yeah. So the reason why I think that a lot of these are like, might be struggling a little bit more than, let's say like an SLR that you might pick up somewhere, is that these were consumer cameras. So, mom and pop are going to be buying these things. Yes. And they're going to be handing this off. It's not usually always owned by Andy Warhol,
What? No.
Yeah.
No.
The
people who come in here and sell your cameras all day, they swear up and down they were owned by Andy Warhol.
There's Andy Warhol on this. He created it.
That's always the price they want.
Yeah.
Since these were consumer cameras, they might have been left in like a shed or an attic or
they suffered the
things.
Heat.
Suffered.
Like it's unlike
neglect.
Unlike a photographer who might be like, okay, yeah, this was in my collection, but it was on my shelf in my air-conditioned house or something like that, in a little bit better condition.
But the thing is this is one of the things that blew my mind. I recently saw a video on sort of like a 15-minute video on Polaroid, Edward Land. These things were made by the millions.
Yes.
It's not just like a few 100,000, by the millions. At one point, this brought in $500 million.
Oh yeah.
In 1 year into Polaroid. These things were everywhere. This was the Canon AE1 of its concept time. Everybody's pulling those things out from everywhere. Well, a lot of times when they pull that out, one of these is nearby.
Yeah, I mean, they're not rare, but you're right. But as far as instant photography, you'd have your SLR. You'd probably have one of these too. If you were that kind of photographer, you had one of each.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing. So it's not like something that, oh, you better find one because they're going to run out.
No.
And you're not going to have. It's just keep looking. They're out there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I'm sorry. So please go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say a lot of them only need like they just need to be cleaned and looked over.
Yeah, I was going to ask what parts are the ones that are more likely going to fail with this? I mean, do they ever have the bellows problem? Because that pop-up bellows always seems like that's like the weak link.
Actually, no. The bellows are actually like really like resilient, to be honest. Like these are unless you leave them on a shelf open, like near a sunny window, then you'll get like bellows shrinkage and all that stuff.
No pinholes or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good to know.
Yeah, so like the bellows are usually are good. The parts that from my experience are guaranteed almost to go bad. Not bad, but like they can be cleaned.
Needs service.
So there, service. There's
parts
the
that go to
light
the dark
sensor
side.
On the ECM. It has an IR filter over it, and that corrodes because it wasn't coated. It's kind of the same issue that happened with the Leica M9s.
Okay.
With the corroded sensor issue.
Oh wow! So this has the same problem as a Leica.
it's just Leica.
It's just Leica
because the Leica the IR filter on those just will end up getting corroded. That needs to. So what I usually do on these, or always do, I'll clean off the corrosion. Sometimes they won't be corroded depending on like the storage conditions.
Yeah.
But on most of them, they're going to end up corroded, and I have to like cut out the IR filter because it's like epoxied in place and. I mean, carefully pull it out and clean it.
It just fits nicely in the hand. Yeah. I mean, it's something. It looks cool. You would definitely want to walk around shooting with one of these.
Yeah.
This reminds me of those the old.
And have these been reskinned?
Yes.
Because this is like new leather smell.
No, here's the deal.
It's new leather. Yeah.
It's new leather.
And whenever you work on these, you have to take the leather off to get into it.
Yes.
So it's not like this is something that he can work around. So that's one.
It has to come off.
It has to come off.
Yeah. Anytime I do a more major repair, usually I'll ask the customer if like, hey, if like let's say
I have it torn apart.
Yeah, on a model. So like for example, like on a Model 1, a common problem with those, and it was actually a common problem. I actually have a repair bulletin from 1973. That details the problems with.
He has a warranty bulletin from.
Oh, I have like all of the original manuals and stuff. I managed to get my hands on. That was after I learned how to do the cameras. I just wanted them. Yeah. So on those, there's a plastic motor coupler that goes from the motor to this from the motor to a spring to the drive shaft of the cameras that breaks. And those used to break even back then.
It was plastic.
Yes.
Maybe that had something to do with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So. So for example, on a fix like that, I would have to remove the bottom leather of a camera like that in order to stretch the spring and make it go to the drive shaft. Because on the Alpha models and the Sonar models onward and all that, it's just a longer spring. They just got rid of the motor coupler because I don't know why they had the motor coupler in the first place.
Because they're engineers.
Yeah. So I have on those, I literally just stretch the spring like what they have on the Alphas, and then it works exactly the same.
Am I allowed to ask a pricing question?
Sure.
Okay. Well, so what did these things cost? New.
That's the first time he's ever asked permission for anything.
Well, because my next question after what did they cost new is like, well, what do they go for now?
Yeah. So back when they came out new, I think in today's dollars they were like $1,200 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So $1,200
new.
Yeah.
New, brand new.
And
today's dollars.
What was that?
What was that in
numbers?
The 70s, 80s?
It was like $100 and something dollars. I don't know.
Well, that's true though. $100 was a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah.
Because you could fill up your whole push carton in the grocery store for $20.
Yeah. And then the film right when it came out was about $40 in today's money.
Wow.
For 10
so
shots.
That's about $4.
Yeah. It was expensive. It was somehow whenever it first came out less expensive than
because roll film was like less than
$1.
You know, you go to and get like Ilford for 50-75 cents a roll or something.
Oh yeah. So it was expensive, but then you get the nice glossy instant photo. So I mean,
it's amazing.
So, but now, what is the range these are going for now? These have obviously been serviced.
$2,000.
They've been reskinned. I don't know. I don't know if they've had any new parts in them.
Some of them.
Some of them do. So
the new leather smell is
the
working
new
all
leather
on
is
its own.
is a new part.
I mean, because it looks like a lighter, and the fact that it doesn't smell like cigarettes is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of them definitely do, especially like I've gotten some Model 2s, like the ivory colored ones that are like brown from years
stains.
nicotine stains from the 70s.
Oh my god,
they smell like it. But what they go for nowadays, so refurbished generally, like for a Model 1 is about $300.
Okay.
And this is refurbished because
refurbished.
There's work that goes into it.
Guaranteed it's going to work.
There's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But also,
I'm not saying that's what you sell it for. I'm just saying
whenever Impossible Project came out came back,
right.
They had these things refurbished, and they were selling. I don't know if it's this one or the other model, but $450 to $500, I think, depending upon what was with it. But I think they still, when they get them in, they're still up there around that.
Yeah.
So three's at like on the lower end.
So 3 to 5 is their range.
Yeah.
Depending upon
3 to 4,
who's selling
and
them,
there's
how much
different models and stuff, and like in certain circumstances,
more.
Which I don't really get. Like, I think it's purely because of people getting freaked out about the autofocus on these. Like the sonars sometimes sell for less, but again, like I've redesigned the part that fails on these so it actually works.
Well, I actually had an SX-70 for a while, and this was, I would say, probably less than 10 years ago, and I got hit or miss results. Of course, this is when the film was impossible, and so you can never, I didn't have my camera serviced, and of course, at that time, Impossible film was, was it good? Was it not good? You didn't really know.
How can you tell if it's a camera or the film?
At $3 a shot, you're like, you just feel like you're, hitting yourself in the head with a brick. You're like, I'd rather not do this.
Yeah.
But, if you knew you had a guaranteed camera and you knew the film was going to come out every time, this would be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
So the modern Polaroid film, like from like recently, has actually been pretty good, in my opinion. I mean, it's not like the near true to life colors that like Instax gives.
Yeah.
But it still looks really good, and I definitely think that like the biggest, I mean, I might sound biased because I repair these cameras, but I think
that's
like
okay.
I think one of the bigger issues that people have whenever it comes to shooting like modern Polaroid film is
that's the ivory one you were talking about, like that.
Yeah, so like an ivory like that. So this is like actually a
sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. Is be careful. You can get that.
Oh. Yeah, no, this is actually a kind of a rare one, weirdly enough. So this isn't a Model 2. It's actually an ivory alpha. So they made these for a little bit, and I don't know why they stopped. He
brought in a unicorn, y'all.
Oh yeah, this is one of my personal.
Now what's that on the bottom of it?
I could talk about that.
Later. Okay. All right.
You weren't supposed to know this.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
See, I jump ahead. That's my
so. I don't even remember what I was saying.
Sorry. Let's sit here in a moment and let him collect his thoughts.
But, we go back and forth these things. I mean, I think we pretty much have got a handle on why you like these. I mean, they are cool cameras.
They really
do you
are
consider
amazing.
them easy to repair?
Depending
I mean,
on the
obviously, I wouldn't because I don't repair
So,
them,
depending on the issue, I would say
what's the hardest thing to repair then? If it's the issue.
The hardest thing to repair, probably the sonar modules. Those can be a little bit tricky. I think the other difficult portion for anybody who's like wanting to give it a shot at repairing any of these is definitely the soldering work that you have to do. These are PCBs from the 70s. You can lift traces like real easy. So you have to be like real delicate. You have to know how to use an iron really well. Otherwise, you're gonna
burn the board. Or yeah. Did I hear that you converted some of these from SX-70 to 600?
Yeah. So for example, like the Alpha right here.
And why would you make that conversion? Is the 600 film easier to get a hold of?
Yes. So the 600 film is easier to get a hold
of. Guys, I'm a little bit out of this. I'm trying to ask your questions. I think that you would want to ask.
He would have gotten there.
No, the 600 film is a lot easier to get a hold of because SX-70 film is made in a lot smaller batches. I actually had to place an order because it just came back in stock recently.
Is the SX-70 film just a different square size?
No. So it's the exact same size. It uses the exact same battery.
Okay.
The only difference is is obviously the negative, and then also the chemicals that are used in the
Okay.
actual pods. So the reason why it's made in smaller batches is because Polaroid mainly makes their I-type film, which is exactly the same as 600. They're the same film entirely.
Yeah.
So getting a hold of 600 film is a lot easier, and you can just shoot it natively in these cameras if you electronically modify it like I did. And then you could just, without any sort of like wacky ND filters. So like, this is like something that my friend made. It's a
Some goofy glasses.
it's a little pair of goofy glasses that go over the front of the camera. And
I know all about glasses.
Yeah, and I have an ND4 filter on there.
Now,
So
his SX-70 looks like it has astigmatism.
yeah. So if this was just a standard SX-70, then I could shoot 600 film in this with like an ND filter in front of it. But then to close the camera, you have to take off the ND filter and then close it. And then if you want to shoot again, you have to add the ND filter back on.
There's steps involved.
Yeah. Whereas
Lots of steps.
if you electronically converted, then you're
Photography is a
just
process.
taking a picture and it's real easy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, for instant film, like, you're probably wanting to take a picture of something in the immediate,
Yes.
couple of seconds.
Spontaneity is
So,
very important.
Instant results.
Yeah. So,
which makes a lot of sense.
For instant film.
So, and then I guess that goes into this. So, like shooting, let's say, if you're wanting to shoot I-type film, which is just 600 film, again, you would need like an external battery sort of solution. So that's like what this is. This is like a Reservat Power Ranger, I think.
Go Power Rangers!
Yeah, so it basically just...
I wasn't going to even admit to knowing that.
I used to watch that as a kid.
I
so.
didn't. I just, as I'm flipping through the channels, I will see the commercials for it, and that's as far as
So
It's
it goes on the
wow.
it goes on the bottom of the camera, and it attaches to the test points through the chassis.
Now, those test points on the camera already, or did you have to make those?
So all you have to do, because there's already holes, because whenever they were repairing them in the factory, there's already holes in the actual plastic of the camera.
Are there holes in these that are just not covered? No,
yeah.
Totally
So you have to cut open. You have to cut off the
okay
the leather in order
It's
to get
not
to
pretty.
it. It's not pretty. So
And you also have to have the tripod mount as well.
it has.
I know,
built
but
into
this one doesn't.
Yeah, so for that you wouldn't be able to use it on that. There are some other solutions. So then this one now.
Sound.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about this one is that it's actually uses a higher voltage than the originals. I'm trying to think where I put my bag, because I could just put a pack in. But I mean, I guess it doesn't matter.
Oh, your bag's right there at your feet, isn't it?
Oh no, I think I put it over there.
You moved it.
That's all
Here,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you could get different solutions that allow you to shoot, if you have a converted camera, I-type film, because it's just 600 film. If it's 600 converted and you have like an external battery, or what you can do, like what some people do, is they'll use 600 cassettes with the I-type film in like a dark bag. I used to do that a lot. So you could shoot the cheaper I-type films in your 600 converted camera, just sheet by sheet reloading into an old
the 600
pack.
film doesn't have a battery in it. It does not have a good enough battery in it to power
No
the
battery
camera.
at all.
It has no
The
battery.
I-type film doesn't have a battery at all.
Oh, okay.
600 film still
So
does.
the I-type film is now being powered by external batteries that are actually in the camera.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes a lot more sense, because growing up, you and I knew that that all of the film packs for
Had the
Polaroid had
Yeah.
the batteries in them, but apparently they're, to get more room, I guess, in the packs, that they said we gotta get this battery.
Well, it's still
out
8
of
shots.
there. It's still 8 shots.
Still eight
They
shots.
still
It's
couldn't.
still 8
They
shots.
couldn't fit in those 2 shots.
Well, okay,
The
so
thing of
the
it is,
thing,
they got to put all those batteries in. There's extra one.
if you well, yeah, it's also pretty wasteful, because those batteries will last a long time.
Yeah, that was always
Yes.
the kicker, is that the batteries would always outlast the film.
Yes. So
Which
yeah,
is good. Yeah.
Yeah, so it would outlast the film. The other thing is it, as somebody who's like reloaded 600 film into cassettes, it's really tight in there even without the battery. In there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I genuinely don't think that they would be able to fit any more film because it's a tough fit.
I know,
getting
but
them
we
back
all
in.
think they
Thicker.
should get 10 shots.
Oh yeah, well, so that's actually an interesting point. Towards the end of Polaroid's life, there was actually precedent for the 8 shots, and the old Time Zero had 8-shot packs.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Did not
so
know
there was original Polaroid film that had 8-shot packs with Time Zero.
So that's why I prefer the 10 shots that I get from my little Instax here. So
10 shots.
10 shots.
Not
But
8.
now there are batteries in the camera, and I think there are batteries with the film as well. So
Yeah. So when you
let's see.
all right,
Let's see how that works.
cool Mustangs.
I'm blind now. But
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, and Instax is something that I carry in the store.
you do carry that.
Right up here on this shelf. That's all. That whole shelf is Instax.
So-
So above it are cameras. Instax cameras.
You got Instax cameras and Instax film.
And yes.
So I'm gonna sidetrack. It's just for me, guys, because
That's
in preparing for this video today
You
with
did
Zane, I went. And I walked around with my camera. I did a little street photography, and I started taking pictures. Now,
Yes.
I took that one here, but
There you go, sir.
this building is blue. This beetle is yellow. Here's the now you see my
So-
problem. This beetle that's the front of the yellow beetle.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
gray.
yeah.
This is the blue and gray.
I love the front of that.
Greyhound station. You like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Now you can show those to the camera. The problem is I was shooting black and white film, guys. So
Wait,
So
wait. Why is that a problem?
the interesting thing about these is that they're actually a color film. They have different dyes in them.
well,
Yeah.
so as I was taking the pictures, I didn't even wait for them to develop. I just stuck them on my pocket. But I was walking along. I go, ooh, that's very colorful. Click. That was colorful. Click. That was
Yeah.
and of course, black and white film. And I pulled them out and looked at them like, oh, well, that's not going to do.
Yeah.
But this is actually color film.
Yep.
The black and white film is actually color. Interesting.
So
Very
Just different dye
interesting.
couplers.
yeah.
Oh, well, I think I got all 3 of us in there. We're coming out.
Is that
Barely me.
barely
At the
it?
corner.
Barely me.
Got your best side, sir.
just a hint.
Yeah, the best side. So yes, these are really fun. Your conversion of it, and this is what you were talking about earlier. Polaroid makes a lot more 600 film
Mhm.
than they do SX-70.
Mhm.
They made a Spectra film, which the camera was what had the problems on that, right? Was what they officially said.
Yeah. I mean, I've taught. So, yeah.
And
that's-
then now the Spectra
So that's
is gone. The camera, the film's gone,
mhm.
and they blamed the
cameras.
cameras.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It was definitely the batteries though.
But there's
It-
still a lot of Spectra cameras out there in the wild.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
just like
So-
just like these, there's lots of Spectra cameras. There's lots of one steps.
Oh
there's a
my
bunch
God.
of
Mhm.
SX-70s.
there's
All-
millions and
many of these
millions
designs
of
out
these
there.
things out there.
Guys,
blows me
it's
away.
not a rare camera.
Mhm.
But they're really cool.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic.
So
Now-
so which one can you not get film for now?
The Spectrum.
Just the
Spectra. Well, okay.
Spectra.
There's a lot.
Well, I mean, everything prior
If
to
you,
that, pretty much. Yeah.
iZone, Captiva,
The Joy,
Yeah,
Polaroid Joy camera.
yeah, roll film. I mean, there's a lot. But yeah, they're still making
Pack.
SX-70 film. I honestly don't personally see them killing that anytime soon, just because it's the exact same size. It uses the same machines as 600 and I-type, so
The
it's kind
Spectrum
of
did use a different machine though.
yes.
Spectrum.
So that actually, comparing like a Spectra pack to like their newest format, the Go, the packs are snapped together exactly the same. Like it's literally just it's using the Spectra machines. They're
Repurposed it.
created the same. There was a reason why Spectra was killed, and I don't think that it was actually the cameras. I think they just had faulty batteries and they repurposed it for the new stuff. So
Yeah,
All
I was always wondering about that. How they just blame something else. And
That's how it works.
no, it's not spitting it out, or it's having problems with. Well, yeah, it's because the batteries were screwing up, and not the camera.
yeah, I mean this is
I mean, how could what was so different about the battery from the SX-70 or the 600 to
the batteries that they were using. I think were just old.
and they didn't want to update the batteries for that?
Yeah.
'Cause-
Oh, battery
So
technology.
the thing is that if you like tape over the contacts
Mhm.
on the actual battery packs and you power it externally with like 4 AA batteries,
Yeah.
it'll always. I have a friend that I have a friend in Australia that modifies them for that.
But then you can't get the film for it now. So.
Well, yeah, pretty much. So it's pretty much only for people who like have a stash of Spectra film that they're wanting to shoot.
Mm-hmm. So instead of fixing the camera and the battery, they just killed the line off.
Well, I mean, it was less popular. That's kind of the problem. It's kind of where I think like the 8x10's going now, because they've been saying that it's like, summer 2021, we're doing another run of 8x10. Oh, fall of 2021, and it keeps getting pushed back and back. But the problem with that is that it's like machine cut, but it's hand assembled, so it's a lot more. Was that the way it was like
years ago? I mean, decades ago.
I think it might have been.
So it's just a laborious.
It's a laborious
project.
Yeah,
Back then and now.
Yeah.
Because there are people who shoot the 8x10 Polaroid.
Yeah, and the people who do buy tons of it. Like, usually whenever they do runs of it.
Because you never know whether they're going to make it again.
They buy, like, the people that I know that shoot it will buy, like, 4 or 5 boxes. It's like $200 a box.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like $20 a shot.
And how many shots are in a box?
10.
No, see, that has 10.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
And what is this lovely little...
well, I was going to take a picture of y'all. So this is a Mint flash bar. This is what. So if you needed to shoot,
Mint is the name of the company, not the condition of the flash bar.
It's a Mint flash bar.
Yeah, so
prestige.
So with the SX-70, if you have it unmodified, the ISO of the film is like 125. So if you go into the shade, you're going to end up needing a flash.
In the shade outdoors.
Yeah, because it's a maximum aperture of f8. So you're not gonna you need a little bit of extra light. Even to a certain degree with like if you have it 600 modified. So the Mint flash, if you end up getting a 600 modified, is one of your primary options of shooting, because this has a half power mode that's for 600 film. Or you could use like an ND filter with like something like this, which is like one of my favorite flashes, and it's the Polatronic. So it's this big beefy flash gun. I think I have batteries.
That makes the whole camera look so unsexy.
Oh yeah, but I mean the classic.
It's cool.
The classic like whine as it.
Yeah.
No, that is true. That is true.
We can hear the whine. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
I mean, let's see. This. Come on, this is. Like,
okay, well, technically, this flash.
Listen, you can't have this camera and that flash and not have a porn mustache. Okay, it's just.
I had a porn mustache for a very, very short term. Yeah, this is.
No, that was the Burt Reynolds.
The Burt Reynolds.
The Burt Reynolds.
Yeah,
and it did not look good, guys. I'm going to put that video up above his head.
This is so cool, though. I mean, I mean, that is just so cool. See,
they're such fun cameras.
There are not things like this today that are cool like this.
Yeah,
I mean,
there are certain cameras that come along that are just plain cool. And there's just no way around it.
And you got to get how far back?
He's left us to take our
I guess that's one thing that I could talk about.
Sure.
So the minimum focus distance of the SX-70 is like right there.
And that's pretty good. It was about a foot and a half.
Pretty insanely close.
Yeah.
All right.
But for something like this.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
I'm blind.
Oh.
I'm blind.
So yeah, I got the black frames in right now. So it's this one's color film, so it'll take a little bit for it to develop. Right. It still takes like about 15 minutes. The old Impossible stuff used to take like almost an hour.
Yes, it did. And that was one of
stuff was like 45
and
minutes.
It almost seemed like it was not instant at all.
Yeah, you're sitting there going, I think it's broke.
Is it ready yet?
Well,
I mean, because look here. This has only been a couple minutes, right?
Yeah.
Already
the
done,
black
guys.
And white film here. I'll actually grab.
All right.
While I yell really loud.
Well, hey, how are you doing? So you went into work today?
It was a busy day.
You went into work.
I went into a building, my day gig.
Wow. For the first time
and then
in a
I
year
left for lunch, and I went and took some pictures.
Wow.
All right.
So he's back.
I'm back. So the black and white film is actually a lot faster, and it's a true black and white.
This isn't true?
Well, he says this is technically a color film.
It's a color film.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's not.
So
technically.
Yeah, so the Polaroid black and white is a true black and white film. Which
you know what I don't know doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Well, the cool thing, so like with what my friend made with these, if you get like 37 millimeter color filters, you can actually use that with the black and white film and get different contrasts. And
Oh,
stuff out of it.
yes.
So that there's a lot of creative opportunities that come with the SX-70 system.
They really are. It's so
Which
cool.
is so weird because I mean, so there's
push it
obviously
back.
there's a lot of communities around like certain cameras as far as like analog photography goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
You mean cults?
yeah. But I think that the SX-70s is the most interesting because there's so many people that are creating like really cool stuff or like doing really cool stuff with the medium. Well, also like with Holgas, like those are
Holgas.
also,
Holgas?
Speaking of Holgas,
There's
yeah,
a
no, like
cult of Holgas?
like every other
I should know about this.
you know, like camera that people like get really excited about, like
Holgas,
really have much around.
Diana's, Polaroids.
But there's so much cool stuff in like the more, I guess, like simple section of it, even though it doesn't have to be simple. Like obviously, like with like the Open SX-70 stuff, I could do like a bunch of ridiculous whatever have yous.
Yeah.
But we'll do another one on the Alpha.
Go Mustangs. That's amazing. Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
So he has to physically
a little less blinded
focus
by
that one.
Yeah. So this one comes out a darker blue because it's the black and white.
Wow.
It's a true black and white. It comes in blue.
It comes in blue.
It comes in a dark blue.
So, Policon is coming up here in a few weeks. And like I said, it's the end of September. It's the first week of the state fair, all that kind of great stuff. We understand you're having a talk at Policon.
Yeah.
What will you be discussing?
So I'm going to be doing a Q&A / demonstration of the Open SX-70 system, which this actually kind of is. Both these cameras are Open SX-70 converted. I just don't have the dongle on it. Or
so you're going to go into a lot more
The-
technical detail than what you just discussed with us.
The
about-
dongle?
I mean, I could
Wait,
here.
wait,
I-
wait.
No.
The
Please don't. No,
dongle?
we can't.
The dongle.
We can't handle that. We
The
can't.
dongle?
handle
I
that.
know. I'm not the one that named it.
That's all right.
So
That's all right.
I mean, so
What is it?
there's the so it's there's like the standard dongle and then there's the U dongle. There's a bunch of stuff.
I
So
see T-shirts right now with that.
yeah, so, I mean, these are coming out nice so far.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
they're not anywhere near developed yet fully.
Yeah, because it takes a whole lot longer.
Yeah, it takes a whole lot longer, but the black and white's coming along real nice. Yeah, the Instax comes out a lot faster, but the Polaroid, like the new Polaroid, did have to start over from the beginning. They didn't have the original recipes or anything.
Mhm.
Whereas like Instax probably is grandfathered into like some environmental regulations. If I had to make a guess,
Possibly.
Yes.
there's some magic happening that allows it to develop that
And-
fast.
That is a.
They
Yeah.
still
Little
have the secret
special
sauce.
They're
stuff.
still allowed to
That's-
use the secret sauce.
That's like Velvia 100, which can no longer be
Yeah.
bought.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did hear that whenever Polaroid went away and Impossible came on, they didn't get the list of chemistry because a lot of it was banned by the EPA.
Yeah, a lot of it was banned by the EPA, but also a lot of the companies that manufactured the chemicals went under when Polaroid went under because that's basically all they were doing.
That's how they were
was
doing.
making chemicals for Polaroid, so they went away.
That was it.
Which is one of the same issues with Kodachrome as well. I mean,
Mhm.
only Kodak was making the chemicals, and,
Yep.
they said no mas.
And it was
Yep.
no mas.
hmm
But again, that was the EPA that killed that one too.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. So so
We find a
these
common theme in this.
I'm thinking, yes, I'm seeing that the EPA does not care for photography.
They are not a photographer-friendly group, but
Yeah.
we're probably going to be censored for that.
Sure.
All of a sudden, our website
well,
starts
I'm
going
thinking
down.
the EPA wants to bring back oil painters.
Yeah,
You
But they're
family
gonna limit-
portraits, the old-fashioned.
they're
way.
going to limit the oils they can buy because some of them are.
Well, maybe it's egg temper or something like that. So they don't want you using oil.
Yeah, it's EPA not friendly.
So you're going to go
Wow.
into more detail with your talk on the open system and,
Mhm.
and things like that. And,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping this is also going to be because when they did the last year, they'd had in person and online. I'm hoping this is going to be online.
yeah, I think that's going to be the case for
Both.
this one as well.
Oh, it's not going to be in person?
Well, it is in person.
But online
but it's
as well.
filmed in person.
Yeah,
You'd
but I'm
be
not
there
entirely
talking.
Yeah,
sure like what will be online or what not won't be. So
Because last year it was all online.
yes.
But it was still cool because you can go back and look at it at any
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the neat thing about it.
Yeah, no, and I'll
So I
definitely
like
I'll
that.
definitely see like if I can get online. If not, I'll do it myself. Like I don't care.
If not, you can always watch him here.
Yeah.
Yeah, right
Just
here.
over and over again, and just tell your friends about it and say, "Hey."
I mean,
That's
I
exciting.
could give a little demonstration of it. I just have to go get the. I mean, it's up to you guys. I don't
I
care.
don't
That might
care.
be a little much for them.
Okay.
It's going to make their head explode.
What?
Okay, I'm sorry.
A demonstration. Why can't I see a demonstration?
Oh, jeez.
Never get the cool stuff.
That's true. Well, Zane, where can they find you if they want to say, hey, they want to look at your work or they want to see what you're doing? Where can they find your information? Because we're going to put it down in the
and you don't know what day you're going to be
below.
at the public.
It'll be either the 25th or the 26th.
There's only 2 days.
Yeah, pretty much.
One of those
It'll be
2
one of the
days.
days in Denton. So I'll be doing it whenever that gets shaken out. And I get told what I'm doing, and I go do
They'll
it.
say, "Here, sit, talk."
Yeah, and I'll do
That's
it.
what we did. Here, sit, talk.
Yeah.
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 No.
So yeah, I'm mostly on my Instagram like everybody else.
And it's Zane Pollard.
It's just my name at Zane Pollard. I just keep
Okay.
it real easy.
Yeah.
Super simple, guys.
Yeah. And what else now? Is there anything else that we've kind of missed on this? Just any overarching thing? There were millions of these things made.
I love these cameras, though.
They're
They're just so cool.
And
just
yeah.
look-
Mhm.
Yes. So it's fun. I mean, yeah. See the black. Oh yeah, definitely.
Wow, they
the
sharpened
black
up
and
real
white
quick.
does develop a lot
Yeah.
faster.
So here we'll go there
See.
again.
Oh, now we're going to be out of focus for a while.
well,
It's
you know,
that's
That's his fault.
we're used to it.
We're better blurry.
Yeah, we are. We're handsome, Rory. But yeah, so the SX-70s,
Mhm.
millions of them made.
Mhm.
Doesn't look like they're going to be gone anytime soon.
It is hard to get parts for them actually nowadays,
but still,
the cameras are still there.
I mean, you got millions.
Oh yeah.
Millions of them out there.
Hmm.
I was amazed at how many they sold new the first time.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it was
yeah, so
amazing.
word to the
Well,
wise, if you've gotten this far in the video, first of all, thank you. But second of all, if you run across an SX-70 and you don't know whether it's working or not, don't throw it away. Don't throw it away.
Yeah,
There
it's-
is somebody who wants it and who wants to see if they can bring it back to life. There
Yeah.
are thousands upon thousands of photographers who would love to have an SX-70
Yeah.
refurbished and working and be able to shoot.
If it sounds like a dying vacuum cleaner, do not throw it away, please.
Yeah, just because it can be used for parts.
Yes.
I mean,
Or
so-
even repaired. Like some of them, even if they sound awful,
Right.
can be repaired. Yeah. So
but
like,
even if it can't be repaired, it can be used for parts still.
Mhm.
I mean, so they're recycle them.
yeah, because
Just bring them here to Don's.
These, in addition,
We'll have a pile of them.
yeah.
This is probably
This
one of
guy
the
right
few
here.
broken cameras you can sell easily because somebody wants the parts.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well,
You're not gonna get a whole lot of money.
No, you're not gonna get a lot of money.
That's the thing. Is that like they're like all pretty much backwards compatible with one another. Like I've made so many Franken SX-70s. It's
Okay, what is your most common new thing that you put on there that makes it so much different?
So one fun thing that I like doing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good question. I like that.
So
Thanks.
the 680s and 690s only came in like a flat black plastic. So what I like to do is I'll take like the body of like a sonar and then I'll graft on the 680 top and shutter housing and all that. And then it's just like a chrome 680
Oh, that's pretty cool.
as opposed to being like
So take that off and it'll be chrome then? Or what?
So like the 680 is like this,
Yeah.
except it's still got the sonar bit. Then on the top is a flash unit.
Yeah.
So I take usually, because the shutter housing is kind of slightly different, I'll take the shutter housing, which is behind this plate, and the upper housing and everything, and I'll graft it onto a sonar body.
Ooh.
And then
So he's
it'll be
mixing
all
matching
chrome.
parts.
Yeah.
But
Because
that's-
the 680s only came in the black, but I like the classic.
So
chrome
you're
look.
mixing the chrome and the black together, which is kind of cool, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a 690 at one point that was it was like the classic like this. Like I used the exact same leather and it was chrome
So
and
so
everything.
in the SX-70 crowd, if you want to really stand out, you would have something like that. A nice,
Yeah.
nice Frankenstein.
Yeah.
camera.
That would that be the one that everybody pointed to and go, ooh,
Look at that. I did sell that one. For quite a bit.
there you go. I love it.
But yet it
Yeah.
probably worked just as well as all the rest of them.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
that it's different color. You know, that's like the press camera is always was black on black. and for some reason they go for more money. It's like, but it's the same camera. It's just black.
Yeah.
But yet it always goes for more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's fewer of them. It's the same camera.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's it. You know, like just demand versus how much is out there. There wasn't many of those
And what
things
people are willing to pay. Yeah.
So this is great. I mean, I can see where people would get wrapped up into this like a cult. I mean, it's just like you would. There are no variations of it that you couldn't eventually work into something. I mean, just the way you rebuild it, the way you dress it up, the way you use it.
Yeah.
That's what I love about photography. It's a simple concept: shutter speed, f-stop, film speed.
Right.
But there's a billion ways to go off from that.
There's a billion ways to still take the picture.
Yeah.
There's really only 3 ways to take the picture, but there's a billion different devices.
3 things that it's all based on.
I just love that, you know, what draws me to a camera as much like it draws people to a fine watch or a beautiful car or something like that. When a design is just right, it really grabs you. And the SX-70 is just one of those designs.
It is. I mean, when it came out, it was groundbreaking. Just the whole thing.
I mean, it still is today, in all honesty. Like the fact that like they spent so much time, like if you think about like the optical path from like looking through the viewfinder, it has to go through the lens, bounce off this internal mirror, hit the Fresnel lens, bounce off the mirror again near the top, and then go through this wafer lens that's up in here, which then goes to this parabolic mirror, to this viewfinder lens, and then to your eye.
Gracious, if you're playing horse, that's what that sounds like.
Yeah, and then
bounce it off of the.
And then you have to have a mechanism to flip the mirror up, and you know, like the standard box cameras.
Yeah, it's a reflex.
Yeah, it's a reflex. It's
a foldable flat reflex.
Yeah, that shoots instant film.
That shoots instant film. Edward Land was a freaking genius.
Yeah.
I mean, his contributions to World War II were amazing. His work and everything past that was just, it was groundbreaking. I mean, people.
He was probably like one of the last, like, I guess, CEOs of a company that actually was like incredibly hands-on. With the development process.
Yeah, but I mean, the way whenever he came up with this, I mean, there was literally nothing else out there in the world.
Oh, no.
That was even thinking about it.
No.
And he goes, his daughter asked him, little kid asked him.
3 years old, yeah.
And he goes, well, okay, let me think about this.
Well, but you know, what other invention, not photography, was as close to these camera than instant photography is? Cassette tapes.
Yeah,
I mean, think about it. You could play and record instantly,
turn it around and rehear it.
And you know, and that was the 70s and 80s, right? It was instant, you know.
And this is the thing too. There are things that you could sit there and archive these in. These are archivable. These are your negatives. This is your history right here. How many times I have gotten something in here and I go through it and I'll sit there and see a little Polaroid print in there from a party or something and pull it out, and it is still so cool, and you can tell it's the 70s by the dress or by the outfits they're wearing. But these are archivable. This is not an electronic image that will get lost in time on a phone somewhere. It's
not going to get stuck in an old hard drive.
No.
Yeah.
It is
lost in an old hard drive.
And this is what we preach here. I mean, this is the thing that I love is that it's archivable.
The physicality.
It's history. It's something physical you can pass down to generations. And there was a guy who was up in New York, I believe it was, and he would sit there and take Polaroids of all the bands going up to the stage at this one place. And he did it for decades. And his collection of these things right here, his collections of these things right here with people, the bands that signed them, is worth a few hundred. It's worth a lot of money. He's negotiating at the time I read about this, and some people made him like small offers for it. They were insulting, but it has a huge dollar value. You can almost make a living with that amount in New York. So it was big, but this is what I love. It's hands-on. It's physical. You put the effort into it. You get payment with this, and that's
the beauty of instant photography.
Yeah. I
well,
love it.
I think we kind of need to wrap this
Yeah.
up. So Todd sells Instax film right here in the store and cameras.
And
Film.
Instax cameras.
So mini, the square,
the square,
the
the mini, and the
wide,
wide.
double packs, single packs, special borders. You saw all that stuff, right?
Not too many special borders,
But
but
a
yeah,
few,
a lot of
a
the things
few,
I
a
do-
few.
They're up here. This is sort of Fuji's version of Polaroid.
Yes.
And, you know, Fuji actually did make the FP100C and the FP3000 or
FP3000B.
So
Yeah.
if you need some Instax,
Fuji
come
made
into the
that.
store.
So they really know what they're doing when they do their version of this. This is just a really cool project that made useful all of these really great, cool toys,
Right.
made them useful again. And so, yes, come in. I do actually have a few of these things here for sale.
What?
I know. And some of them are modified for 600. Some of them are SX-70. Somebody went through, checked them all out.
Somebody? Anybody you know?
No, we're gonna have to get him on here and talk.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'd like to meet him.
yeah, he's a really guy. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if he'll get a personality. So,
He might not get
he
some
may
of the
not get
jokes.
the jokes. I don't know.
And of
but
course,
it's really cool.
and Zane's going to be at Policon.
Policon?
He's going to at least be there for his talk. I don't know if you're going to be there for any other Policon events.
Oh, I'll be there.
But you
He'll be
should go
around,
up to Denton during Policon
Yep.
and meet him and talk to SX-70s with
Bring
him.
your SX-70s along.
I can talk about them for too long. So
And if that's what you'd like to do, he's
and
going to
there's
be there.
nothing wrong with that.
And of course, if you would like Holga t-shirts, please come to the store and get Holga t-shirts.
Because right after Policon is Hope Week.
It's Holga Week.
Yes, international.
And guys, I think that's pretty much going to be it for us.
Yes. So
Please do share,
Yeah,
like,
and-
subscribe.
tell other people about this, man. Say, hey, if you want to know about SX-70s, watch this video.
Follow Zane on Instagram. Go check out his
Yep.
photography and his repairs and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, and you have ways of people getting a hold of you through Instagram.
yeah, people can just message me.
Yeah, just
Message.
send him a DM.
Yeah, you can just DM me.
It's so
I don't-
modern.
Yeah.
yeah. Just, don't call.
Yeah.
I wanna-
Don't call.
But just message. But yeah, thanks for dropping by. We appreciate it.
Yep, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
And this has been really cool. I mean, I sit there and look at these things and I go,
This is so much fun.
they're so shiny and pretty.
All right, guys,
Yeah,
we
thanks.
got to get out of here, though.
Yeah.
So we'll see
I'm
y'all later.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
all right.
And up.
And
And you
out.
lead the way out, sir. Thank you. Man, that was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Do we get to keep the pictures?
What? He took
Yeah,
a
you guys-
picture.
All right.
I don't want him to keep my soul.
No, well, we get there.
I might need a soul.
No, you don't need a soul.